All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The saying around Las Vegas casinos is simply that the house always wins. And right now, Major League Baseball and the Oakland Athletics team owner, John Fisher, are trying to con a city that invented the con. Now, I say this because MLB and Fisher are trying to force feed the A's down the throat of a city that doesn't want them. And these are just not just my words. As Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman was quoted yesterday as saying that the A's ballpark plan for Las Vegas does not make sense. And Goodman took it a step further when she basically said that the A's need to figure out something for a ballpark in the Bay Area. Now, John Fisher, in my opinion, pulled his pants down, took a dump on the city of Oakland and their A's and the A's fans with how he has handled this team, this franchise in recent years. Now, Fisher, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Fisher is a real life version of Rachel Phelps, as he traded away any worthwhile talent several years ago in order to have the worst team in baseball to give him more of an excuse to move. The A's lost 102 games in 2022. They followed that up by losing 112 more last season. And honestly, if the A's find a way to win 50 games this season, I would be extremely surprised. Now, you look at a team right now that has low attendance at the Oakland Coliseum, and you think about it, when the A's were winning, even though that place is a dump, the fans would still come out in droves to support their beloved athletics. And let's look at this current situation right now for Fisher and the A's. Now, the plan for $380 million in public financing for their proposed stadium in Las Vegas is currently set to go to court. Okay. Where are the renderings for this stadium? We've had multiple presentations, welcomings, if you will, for John Fisher to Las Vegas, and yet no renderings of this proposed stadium. He went from wanting like anywhere between a 40-acre to 55-acre facility in Oakland to settling for a 9-acre facility at the old Tropicana Hotel, and still no renderings. You think about the lawmakers that have been bought off in Nevada to try to push this thing through. Now, Clark County has the final say in things, but not the city of Las Vegas. And honestly, that's unfortunate because I do believe that Carolyn Goodman speaks for a lot of people with this situation. So you ask yourself, why is Major League Baseball trying to force feed Vegas down our throats? It's one of those where, for decades, we have seen professional sports, with the exception of boxing, frown upon placing a team in the city of Las Vegas. But then once the National Hockey League put the Vegas Golden Knights there, and then, of course, the Raiders moving from Oakland to Vegas, now everybody's trying to get on the bandwagon. But sometimes the last person on that bandwagon might be too little too late. You look at the situation with the Vegas Golden Knights, they're an expansion team, okay? And they've had success, but I think when you go the expansion route, you have time for planning. You have time to get a feel of the city, and you have the opportunity for a team and a fan base to grow together. And I think, a lot of people that are in baseball, even Mayor Goodman from Las Vegas, they would like to see an expansion team in Vegas and not have the A's force fed down their throats. You think about the Raiders, okay? Were there people upset when the Raiders left Oakland for Las Vegas? Absolutely, because Mark Davis, the Raiders owner, has come out and said, "Listen, I wanted to keep the Raiders there. I wanted to build on the parking lot of the Coliseum, and John Fisher blocked them." Okay, but you can still travel from Oakland to Las Vegas or the Bay Area to Las Vegas for a weekend to watch the Raiders play. It's one of those where Raiders fans are everywhere. The NFL in Vegas is succeeding because even if the Raiders aren't doing good, which they really haven't been doing for the most part since moving to Vegas, you still have a scenario where fans from the opposing team will travel there. It's a weekend in Vegas. Nobody's really going to pass that up, okay? It's a little bit different for baseball. And I think, folks have seen this sucker move and they've also seen other sucker moves by Major League Baseball around the country. They suckered the city of Miami to give the Miami Marlins a new stadium. And honestly, I think that money would have been better spent renovating the Orange Bowl for the Miami Hurricanes football team. We've seen what the Marlins have done for the most part since getting that stadium. They've sold off talent. They constantly operate like a small market team, like a minor league team at that at times, and they don't draw fans. The only time you see fans at Marlins Park is for the World Baseball Classic. The same can be said for the Tampa Bay Rays as they're set to get their new stadium. So I think people are tired of the con game with Major League Baseball on this because at the end of the day, who's really going to take a weekend to sit down and watch baseball in Las Vegas? You think about it. Major League Baseball is played during the summertime. There are so many other things to do in Las Vegas in the summertime rather than sit down and watch a baseball game. You can sit in a casino betting room and watch that game along with other games and be in the comfort, okay, of said casino with slot machines and crap tables within walking distance as opposed to sitting, in a stadium in the summertime. So I'm looking at it like this. They're trying to force this thing down the throats of people, and it ain't working. Rob Manfred, MLB's commissioner, continues to be tone deaf on this because if he were paying attention or cared, he would make John Fisher sell the Athletics to someone who wants to keep this team in the Bay Area. And believe me, there are plenty of people who would love to purchase the A's and keep them rooted in Oakland. So you look at it like this. This continues to be a bad look for Major League Baseball and John Fisher because the bottom line is they figured that their product was good enough that they could just sell it to Vegas, and the folks of Vegas are basically saying, not so fast. And it's one of those where the A's and Major League Baseball have never had a plan B for this. This is basically you saying, you know what? Let's go out there and have a picnic this weekend. Okay, great. Where's the picnic going to be at? We don't know. What day is the picnic going to be held on? We don't know. What are you going to serve at the picnic? We don't know. This is basically what John Fisher and Major League Baseball have done. They have come to the city of Las Vegas with no plan whatsoever. So, with that said, and as this continues to look and be an embarrassment for Major League Baseball, will they cut their losses and pivot to something else? I don't think so because there's too many egos in that room to clearly say, you know what, this is a bad look, but it simply is. You think about it, when sports franchises decide to leave one city and move to another, generally the city that they're going to welcomes them with open arms. As bad as it was for Art Modell about 30 years ago when he decided to move the Cleveland Browns to Baltimore, yes, he became the villain in Cleveland, but he was loved and still loved and respected in the city of Baltimore to this day. The same thing can be said for so many other teams. When the Rams decided to go to St. Louis, and then, of course, when they decided to go back to LA a couple of years ago. But nonetheless, I'm just using these two for an example. But typically, when a team decides to move and go to another place, they're welcomed, with open arms. This is not the case uh, for the Oakland Athletics and Major League Baseball in Las Vegas. And when are they going to get a clue? Now, this is amazing because Oakland is and has been continuing to be willing to work with the A's, but Fisher's ego will not allow it to happen. It's like watching a guy who has a girl that really loves and adores him, but he wants to go after the pretty girl that don't want him. And Instead of, you know what, him just simply accepting his fate, he's going to mess around and fall flat on his face and not have any girl. Now, I'm not saying that this could be the case with the A's from the standpoint that, you know what, if they did truly decide to change their minds, I'm sure that the city of Oakland could find something to work something out because they really want them there. Like I said before, this just continues to be a bad look for Major League Baseball. They are trying to force feed something on to people that they really don't want. And you just have to ask yourself, when is enough going to be enough? When the mayor of said city says, we don't want your team, you should stay where you're at and figure something out there, that is a telling sign. This is a train wreck. I can't even say a train wreck waiting to happen. It's been a train wreck, okay? And it's only going to get worse. The tone deaf aspect that we've seen from Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred and John Fisher, is just simply baffling. When will enough be enough? Vegas clearly doesn't want you. Vegas clearly doesn't want your product, but you refuse to listen and get a clue. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.